Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another segment of Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date 9/21/2022. This is a new YouTube channel for me. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share. Episode 406, World War III, an escalation, an increase in the status of what's going on between Russia and Ukraine from a special military operation to a declaration of war. I'll get into it. Taiwan, the location is danger. There's danger in the geographical location, so I think some attention needs to be paid to some of the manufacturing activities in Taiwan. September 24, get cash. Some of my sources for this are God in the Bible, Patriot subscribers, Scott Ritter, Israeli News Live, Alexander McQuire, A Christoferou, Military Summary, Dr. William Mount, Suspicious Observers, W77, ETN News. And on Beforeitsnews, Decode's interview with Undergrd, Patriot, an interview on Beforeitsnews by Paul McQuire of Anthony Patch regarding CERN. Okay, so I would like to say welcome back to all 50 states, including Alaska, Hawaii, and the First Nations, Cherokee, Navajo, Hopi, Chickasaw, Mohawk, Apache, First Nation, Pitt River in California, the Mohegans, Yakama Nation in Washington State, Potawatomi in the Midwest, Oklahoma, Ojibwe Nation in northern Minnesota, proud people who want peace and justice, Choctaw, Abenaki Tribe, Cheyenne, Massanutten, Pequot, Blackfoot, Montana, Spokane and Colville in Washington State, Powhatan, Seminoles in Florida, Red Crow Tribe in Kentucky, Salt River Tribe in Arizona, and to welcome back the nations of Canada, England, France, Ireland, Philippines, South Africa, Netherlands, also called Holland, Indonesia, Scotland, Germany, Switzerland, New Zealand, Maldives, Nepal, Norway, Australia, Chile, Thailand, Belgium, Mexico, Brazil, Russia, Panama, Guam, a U.S. territory, Jamaica, an Icelander living in Spain and other people in Spain, Wales in the U.K., Sweden, Italy, Puerto Rico, a U.S. territory, Romania, Bermuda, Bahamas, British territories, Morocco, Argentina, Northern Marianas Island, a U.S. territory, Denmark, Bolivia, Uganda, Iceland, Serbia, Bulgaria, Mauritius, Ukraine, the Czech Republic, Poland, Costa Rica, Malta, China, Israel, Finland, Crimea, Padoe, Austria, Czechia, and Turkey and Singapore. So let's get started. Okay, we have a Patriot subscriber talking about Walmart. I drove around the sides and the back of my Walmart, and what I saw were 42 brand new containers, and I wonder what's in them. Do you think it's military equipment? Could be. Okay, and I have a Patriot subscriber commenting on information that came out in my last video. That was from Decode about the RAND Corporation. Yes, I knew a long time ago the RAND Corporation was deep state. Okay, now this information is coming out, and I'll show you how it's the location of Taiwan poses a risk, really, to global economy. Now, recently, so we have China, we have Taiwan, and Taiwan is actually made up of a series of islands. This is the largest one, and Taipei is in this area. Now, Taiwan is also a location of deep underground tunnels, trafficking, biolabs, money laundering for the deep state. All right, now, Recently, in this past week, we saw two earthquakes, or several earthquakes. I know a six point plus and about a 7 point. And ETN News brought out some excellent information that Taiwan is on a critical juncture line of two tectonic plates, Eurasian and Philippine. Now, it was in, ETN brought out, those earthquakes were a result of activity going on at this juncture right here. And it was in 2020 that God said, pay attention to the edges of the tectonic plates, because what's going on inside the earth, it's heating up and it's expanding. And I have multiple sources for this, Gene Decode, Suspicious Observers, and others, from space pressure on the earth, and that's happening now. So we see that Taiwan, being in a location of a juncture of two tectonic plates, would place it in a dangerous location in terms of stability and safety, and yet it's a primary chip manufacturer that affects global economy. So I think in the future, based on earth changes that are going on, once this event with China and Taiwan is resolved, that globally economies and countries and nations need to put in place chip manufacturing to be done in their own nations, because the earth changes that are coming soon. We're seeing them now, so that should be done. Okay, now we'll have a Beforeitsnews. I've been bringing out some information about the impact of the sanctions against Russia by the European Union, and how it is devastating to the economy of Germany, plus other European nations, and how in the coming cold winter that also reflects earth changes going on, that there's not going to be enough energy. Now, this is coming out. The German municipalities, an association of towns in Germany, did a practice of a dark winter event when there would be a lack of sufficient energy, and they would have rolling blackouts or blackouts totally. It was the German Association of Towns, and what they found out by the simulation that they're running on their computer models is that in the first 96 hours they would have at least 400 deaths, primarily in the nursing and retirement homes, and that the electricity and natural gas companies and other businesses currently are going bankrupt. So this winter doesn't look promising for Germany nor Europe. Okay, now we'll get to some news of what's going on in Ukraine. We have Ukraine, Russia, and I've been giving the setup that we currently have U.S. military boots on the ground in Georgia, Armenia, this is Azerbaijan, Iran, Turkey, the Black Sea, all right, Crimea. But we have things going on inside Ukraine. that's going to bring about an escalation from a special military operation by Russia going out to full-fledged war. And we've understood, like Dr. William Mount and other sources, we have at least 10,000 U.S. military inside Ukraine, as well as NATO and mercenaries from many nations. Now, the number of mercenaries came out recently. We've got Luhansk, Donetsk. Let me redraw this map. We had some numbers come out from Decode of a group here. So here is Luhansk, Donetsk. This is the Donbass area. We have Kharkiv. We've got Izium, Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, Bakhmut, Severodonetsk. We've got Crimea down here, Odessa, Kherson, Mykolaiv, Nikopol, Zaporozhye. Now, what I learned today from several of the sources we have is that there's a large city area, Zaporozhye, here, and that's thousands of people in population, and the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is in this area, but it's tied to this. Now, what's going on is that, also in Bakhmut, Decode brought these numbers out, that there are 8 to 10,000 Ukraine military and 5 to 9,000 mercenaries. And that, we recently heard about the private military company from the United States Academy being there. All right, so Bakhmut. And Bakhmut is currently surrounded by Russian forces, so that's going on. Now, what happened up here in Kharkiv is that the Russians withdrew their troops from this area because it was no longer a viable military objective, because it wasn't used by Ukraine as a primary supply route. They had other areas. I submit also it could have been Sun Tzu, Art of War, and General Patton's techniques to draw your enemy in by withdrawing from an area. So Russia withdrew from this area, and then Ukraine came in, and as is the normal practice of the Ukraine military, it is to kill civilians, even those who received food from Russia while Russia came in there. They're being tortured and put to death by the Ukraine military. The Joint Chiefs of the U.S. military have made a public statement that they know that the Ukraine military assassinates its own Ukraine soldiers and also kills civilians. So that's going on. So at any rate, that scared the people of Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia. And what they want immediate referendums, September 23 to 27, to join Russia. Now, once the people vote that they want to join and become Russian citizens and a part of Russia, then Russia has to accept it. But this is being put forward and agreed upon by the Russian government. Now, once Russia declares these areas to be part of Russia, as they consider Crimea, then what's going on in Ukraine is going to escalate from a special military operation to all-out war. And we understand that inside Ukraine, we have NATO and we have U.S. military. So that's going on. Now, and also inside Ukraine, right now in this area, we understand are many thousands of troops of the Third Army of the Russia. And then we had multiple reports that thousands of Chinese and North Korean troops were also moving into this area. So we see that part of the change that Russia will have to make in their parliament, they have to have a declaration of war. They have to go to full mobilization of their troops. They have to bring about what is war crimes with regard to this Ukraine situation. One of the examples given, if the Ukraine soldiers surrender, then they'll pick them up as prisoners of war and put them in jail for 10 years. All right, so that's going on. And we can see that, yeah, all this is heating up. So now we have a new atlas. He's also talking about the referendums by Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, Zaporizhzhia, and that that was brought about by that situation in Kharkiv. Now, Andrei Martnanov, a retired Russian military analyst, was talking about the referendums to take place September 23 through September 27, and other analysts have pointed out, and it's reasonable to conclude that these referendum actions had already been long in planning. I mean, because we're talking about a production of ballots that have to be made for people to vote. So yes, this didn't just suddenly fall out of the sky. It's been in the planning. Now, Andrei Martnanov is talking about Russia, Russian government individuals being in Beijing right now, and what's being talked about is a military integration and a sharing of Russian technology. So that's going on. And also, there was a U.S. naval admiral who was talking about China could blockade Taiwan. Yeah, they could do that if they wanted to. And again, Taiwan is an important international location of chips that go into a lot of products. Okay, so yes. And so Alexander McQuire is also bringing this out inside Ukraine, that Ukraine military, I mean, these details are being put out by a source listing who the Ukraine personnel are going to be involved in the offensive, and the type of equipment and where it's going to be, and the type of boats, because it's amphibious assault on, here's Kherson, and they've already done this a few days ago, and all of their special commandos were killed. But to try once again on the Ken burn spit. It's a little land area here, to put down 2 battalions, or about 1,000 soldiers by Ukraine. So, and details are coming out from the same source about the plans by the Council of War of Ukraine and what they plan to do then here, and then to go up to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant to once again try and take it. Now, in Bakhmut, so Bakhmut is about in this area, the Wagner Force, which is a private military company made up of ex-Russian special forces, has captured a power plant, and the taking of power plants and taking down of power plants is a reflection of Russia's moving and escalating from a special military operation into full-fledged war. Now in Kiev, we understand that 5 power plants have been taken out in the last couple of days also. Okay, so that's going on. Now, so we have Scott Ritter, a Marine, retired military analyst, and he's saying war is going to mean Russia is going to require total surrender of all of Ukraine, to totally demilitarize all of Ukraine, and there are, according to Scott Ritter, tens of thousands inside Ukraine now, U.S. military, NATO mercenaries, from some of the NATO nations like England, Germany, Spain, Italy, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Norway, and others. So, all right, you see that going on. Now, let's move to sci-fi. Okay, we had Israeli News Live, Stephen Ben-Nun, formerly with the CIA, now as the ministry, but regularly gets updates from the Pentagon, talking about Nimrod. Now, Nimrod, I think that was in Genesis, and then it said Nimrod became a Nephilim. We always wondered, what did that mean? Now we understand about genetic manipulation. And that, according to the Pentagon, the reason that the U.S. military went into Iraq was to obtain the body of Nimrod and some other artifacts, and that it was Stephen's understanding that the Pentagon believed that they could resurrect the body of Nimrod, and that CERN had come up with a spirit that claimed to be Nimrod, and that the Nimrod body had been somewhere under Denver, Colorado, but that had been moved or taken over. Israel is now in charge of this project. Now, some new information that came out today that I found is that on Beforeitsnews, there was an interview by Paul McQuire of Anthony Patch, who verified that CERN. Now CERN is like on the border of Switzerland and another country in that area. It's underground. It's like a circle that's like 27 miles around, and the scientists project particles, accelerate them beyond the speed of light or at the speed of light to get supposedly their search is for the God particle. But what they have done is they have been opening portals. And so Anthony Patch verified, yes, CERN had opened these portals and were in communication with different entities. So that ties right in and supports Stephen's assertion that CERN had located a spirit that claimed to be Nimrod. So we'll see how this goes in the future. Yeah, and it was hidden. Yeah, Nimrod. All right. So now we'll go on to E-News. Okay. So E-News. And this ties in with Taiwan, the primary manufacturer on a global basis of microchips that are used in most appliances now and certainly in vehicles. And so what happened was we had that 2020 event and the lockdowns on a global basis, so that took the demand for new vehicles down. So what Taiwan did with their chip manufacturing was take it down, but as soon as the lockdown was lifted, then the demand for new vehicles, resurged even more than it had been. And it's my understanding that Taiwan has been trying to catch up, and we have some examples here. On July 2nd of 2022, GM inside the United States parks 95,000 vehicles. They need chips. Ford now, September, cannot deliver thousands of trucks. They need chips. And what we see is, and what I'm brought out with that information coming from ETN News and the information from God, is that Taiwan is their geographic location is in a dangerous spot. So it would be good if other nations step up to the plate and begin manufacturing chips. Okay, a heads up. So this comes from Suspicious Observers, Ben Davidson. And this has to do with the sun becoming a micronova, crossing over what's called the galactic sheet. And the sources, besides Suspicious Observers, Mike from around the world. Mike works, we believe, for the NSA. Mike knows stuff. Gene Decode, Alex Collier, Cliff High. And this has to do, and God. And God is talking about, the pressure in space now expanding the Earth and all the magma rising along the edges of the tectonic plates. All right, so now we have a cycle that goes on. It's like every 12,000 years. And I've demonstrated this before, like here we are, our 6,000. We have Atlantis, Lemuria. That was an extinction level event. We had Adam and Eve. We had Noah. That was also an extinction level event. and it's right on the timing with this long-term cycle of the galactic plane. And Gene Decode also mentions the Milky Way turns and rotates, and so that also is part of the cycle. So at any rate, this is coming along, and it's correlating to this ice age that's coming up in 2030. And so our winters are going to begin to be colder. It's all correlating to what's happening in space. And so Ben Davidson is bringing out some things that characterize the Earth passing through the galactic plane. It's not just the Earth, it's our entire solar system and our galaxy. So it's a lot of effects. But isn't it good that God is in charge? Absolutely. But some of the things that characterize it are extinction level events. That's accurate. Glaciers, pole shift. He's talking about isotopes, different things found in bones and rocks, that also, and other things. So yeah, that's all accurate, and it's all working together. And we who are Christians understand that we are safe in the arms and protection of God. But I think it's good to understand, yes, there are geographic things happening to the Earth, and so we may need to take certain actions. Okay, so now, be happy. Here we go. And this information comes from Gene Decode. And we've been hearing about the deep underground areas being gone into and cleaned and shut down. Okay, what they found is, what the Alliance has found is food that would last globally, every man, woman, and child on Earth, for 150 years. And it's top quality food. It's non-GMO. So that's going on, and the white hats have it. So there's no food shortage. And it's also coming out that some of those plants are being taken down by the white hats because the food has actually been poisoned with things like nanobots. Well, we don't want that inside our bodies, nor inside the bodies of our children. No. So we can be happy and don't be worried about a food shortage. Okay, now let's look ahead. So this is Judy Byington. So we know with the Queen, her passing had been planned, and now there's a big meeting of the elites, the deep state, and the Alliance has told the elites, get ready, because, the banking system's going down and the quantum financial system's coming online, Nasara Jasara. And so they're saying, September 24, that's Simon Parks is recommending, having cash and food enough to last for 2 to 10 days is what is coming out from Judy Byington. And ShariRaye said, I don't think it's going to last 10 days, but, have some cash and food. That would be good. Now, this is also coming out, and we've been hearing, I think that was Cliff High who said, Charles will not become king. So we understand he was called in front of an international tribunal, and that happened September 19, to answer questions about crimes against humanity. and to answer questions about the Queen, her husband Philip, and other family members, and himself. So that's coming out. Now, ShariRaye is saying that it's only the Golden Dragons family that has the code for the quantum financial system. And it was God who verified when Jim Woolley was bringing out some information about the Golden Dragon family and the White Dragon family, that this was real. Because we would have a tendency to say, no, okay, it's real. These families are real. And ShariRaye, and from her military intel, the Golden Dragons have the code that's going to be put in the computer, so that's going on. So don't let other sources try to tell you this or that. Now, Joshua Philippe with Crossroads, is bringing this information out, that Russia, it's coming out now, that it was the FBI who paid informants to say that, to make up incriminating information about President Trump. Russia. But the FBI paid for it. So that's coming out, and it's public. Crossroads is, like a public news venue. All right. And that, in that November 2020 event, President Trump received like 100 million counts, and a JB 20 million. So we all know that. Now, some more information about stores closing. I put out a special report about Walmart and Amazon and Kohl's and Target and other locations canceling orders now, like something huge is coming. So ShariRaye is bringing this out. Bed Bath & Beyond suddenly is closing 118 stores. So, that's going on. Oh, and some other information I'll put together on another report. So let's have a short prayer, and in retrospect, we understand we've got plenty of food, just have some cash, we have Nasara Jasara coming on, and we have God in our corner. So here's a cleansing prayer modeled by Gene Decode. We remove permission to be in us, on us, around us, on earth, off world, any dimension, any person, place, or thing not of God, any assemblage of fallen angels, AI, nanobot, and other forms of tech, any non-terrestrial species, spirit, thought form, operating system, genetic overlay, past, present, and future. And so this prayer is based on the Passion Translation, and it's entitled, Let's Cross Over Jordan. The Lord, Yahweh, called us before we were in the womb of our mothers. He has hidden us in the shadow of his hand. We have been polished and made into arrows and concealed in the quiver of our God. I, your God, will restore your destiny, your place in the world, and restore favor to you. I am your kinsman redeemer. I am your Father, your Creator God. I fix my eyes on you. You are my covenant people who will restore the land, resettle families, and reclaim forgotten inheritances. You will declare to prisoners, you are free. You will say to those in darkness, here is the light. God will restore us in a land of restful, renewing streams of water. You are my people. I have carved you upon my hands, says God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua. Your ruins will be rebuilt by your builder children. Your destroyers will stay away. I, your God, will fulfill all my promises to those who have entwined their hearts with mine. And we say thank you, Father, Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. And I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there. Continue to pray. God is in charge, and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.